Coming to you from the crossroads. The horror. It's the little podcast of horrors with James, Christina, and Chris. What's up, guys? Welcome to Little Podcast of Horrors. This is episode 10.
Woo. The crowd goes wild.
The crowd goes wild. Yay. We've made it through 10 episodes, people. You've stuck with us for 10 episodes.
What's wrong with you?
I mean, honestly.
Yeah, what are you doing? You got some,
get some help.
Stuck in traffic.
But also, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Okay, I can't keep talking. You got to talk too,
No, I don't want to talk.
You talk.
I'm not going to talk.
You talk.
This is all you. This show's all you. Go, Chris.
I'm Christina, your favorite
Chris.
host.
Yeah, I'm Chris, who I guess is the motor mouth. I'm just like...
I'm James.
And then lurking in the shadows quietly.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. That would be his version of his, if he was a shadow person. It would just be like, it's all like, you go down the list of the shadow people, like, hi, everybody. I'm Shadow Person James.
Elliot the other day said that he's seeing shadow people in this house again.
Oh, no.
Crap.
I had to sage it out, so hopefully he doesn't see anymore.
Well, so
on that note,
smooth transition.
so in our previous stories, we've referenced not one but quite a few instances of people predicting the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And what they all share in common, as a surprise to no one, is that the world didn't end. So
right.
that's been the common thread.
Yeah.
But so this time around, instead of predicting when the world is going to end, what if I were to tell you the world has already ended?
Are we in hell?
Well, that is yet to be determined. You be the judge as we proceed through this.
Oh, this is the bad place.
So, what I want to talk about today is there is this theory that has gained some popularity on the interwebs over the years that claims that the year actually ended in 2012. And of course, if for everybody who was around before 2012, we were inundated in popular culture with all of the predictions of the world ending, usually on December 21st, 2012, like, the Mayan calendar shenanigans, and there are movies about it and all that yards. So this one's saying actually those predictions were true. It did end. So the premise of this whole thing is going to be, and why a lot of people find it rather compelling, is I think it's safe to say that at least since 2012, there's been a lot of weird.
It's been interesting.
Yeah. But go back in time in your head and go back to your 2012 self. And if somebody from the future had come to you in 2012 and say, like, this casino owner, Donald Trump, is going to be the president, or
no,
we're going to have a worldwide plague, leave us all indoors for a couple of years, mainly because we absolutely refuse to do the bare minimum to keep it from happening. Like, you'd be like, come on, you're crazy. What are you going on about?
Listen, I don't want to alarm you. Like, if I'm talking to my past self, it would be like, so Trump becomes president. What? And this pandemic happens, and there's massive forest fires that turn like the sky like dark red.
And then a bunch of nerds flood the stock market and mess everything up by buying up all of GameStop.
Yeah. Elon Musk bought Twitter. Oh, and murder hornets are a thing now.
And also Nazis are back with a vengeance.
Back. Right.
Fucking
So if you're to hear
Nazis.
that back in 2012, you'll be, come on, this is crazy science fiction you're spouting at me. Get out of here. So that's this is the groundwork of the argument. Okay, so this theory was first brought to the mainstream by a gentleman of the name Nick Hinton in 2019 on his Twitter, as many things like to be born nowadays.
Okay. Like it.
So let me go ahead and tell you a little bit of this just straight out of the mouth of Nick, since this is his pet theory. So he posted kind of a thread explaining this on Twitter in 2019. And, just side note, 2019, like things hadn't even begun to get weird.
Yeah,
right?
this is like before the pandemic.
Right. So, excuse me. So he says, I've wanted to talk about this subject for a while now. The other day, I had a random urge to look into it again and read some old stuff, just for fun. Ever since then, I've noticed other people talking about it again. But the strangest part is I cannot find anything online about it anymore. Like I said, you can find people talking about it casually or joking about it, but I cannot find any of the in-depth material I had read before. This has actually been really frustrating for me because I have nothing to refresh my memory while writing this. I found a few things here and there that are helping me piece the puzzle together again, but I know there used to be so much more out there. I can't even remember the first time I've heard this theory, but it's become somewhat of a meme. I did find a video of Max Lagon, I'm not familiar with, that child genius from YouTube, touch on this theory, but I don't think he's the first to talk about it. I think originally it was some girl. That's all he recalls. So did the world actually end in 2012? Well, it was the year scientists at CERN finally found the Higgs boson. The particle Stephen Hawking predicted could destroy the universe, or in his own words, cause the universe to undergo a catastrophic vacuum decay. Well, what would happen if we destroyed the universe? Would we know? Maybe CERN accidentally created a black hole that sucked us in without us even noticing, and we've just been living in it. Some physicists actually believe this is possible.
I've got chills.
Wait, how do we get sucked into a black hole and not know?
Because we got sucked into the black hole, and the result of it was we hopped universes.
So
I'm in love with this.
I need to not jump the gun. You go ahead.
Well, I wanted to pause there before going further down the rabbit hole, just to let you digest the whole base theory here.
So we're just now in an alternate universe.
Right. Because you remember everyone was freaking out about those colliders when they were being built, and 2012 was the time the one CERN went online.
Well, then that theory would say the world didn't end. We just hopped universes.
The world as we knew it absolutely ended.
Well, even then, did it? Like, this is still Earth. It's just in a different. The theory is it's just in a different place. But then again, we didn't notice that it's in a different place. So in a way, I don't know. Like, what's different, other than just
it's different? Okay.
Okay. All right.
People are getting back into magic big time. Like widespread. So that's kind of an odd phenomena that's happened. Also with that CERN, haven't they also discovered one or two new like particles or something that they didn't know it existed?
Yes. Yeah. They also discovered the existence of, oh my God. They had even discovered that the whole multiverse theory is possible because they were able to create the same atom in two different spots. In the sense of that's what gives. Here's the thing: if we're in a different universe, where's the other Earth? Did we like merge with it?
It's gone, dude.
I don't know.
Oh, so we just killed all our other selves.
Well, I mean, that's what he means by the end of the world. It happened, and we just hopped over. In this presumably much crazier, arguably worse, depending on who you talk to, timeline. Or Donald Trump is where Biff is president.
Mm-hmm. You know what, guys? This might be my fault. So 2012 December is when Elliot was born, and I was like, the world better not fucking end. I did not just push this kid out of my body.
So you're the reason. You're the reason we're in Back to the Future too.
Yeah, sorry guys, it's all me.
I'm just okay. I'm gonna listen to you and because I have so many questions right now.
But yeah, Chris, just think of it as we're in the Biff timeline, the Biff is president timeline.
But the thing is,
because CERN.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like everybody's in the Biff timeline. It's not like Marty and Doc ending up in the Biff timeline where nobody else notices. It's
the entire planets.
We hopped.
Yeah. It would just be like if you sucked everybody out from the original timeline and put them in the Biff timeline, like.
But had CERN not screwed around with science, we wouldn't be in the Biff timeline. We'd be in the nice normal one where Biff isn't president.
But that doesn't wait. Oh my gosh. This still isn't making sense. Wouldn't it still be the same thing? Like nothing changed other than the universe around us, but it's still us. We're still on the same trajectory that we were on beforehand. So
but it would be less crazy or hellish. Like we wouldn't have COVID and we'd have some generic boring guy as president in 2016 and so on and so forth.
But why? Like what altered the timeline? Like that's the thing I'm getting at is like if we were like going along the same timeline, like you're driving along the same highway and you moved us to an exact identical highway, we would still be driving along exactly as we were. We'd still make all the same choices, all the same decisions, and it would still be the same outcome. So what irrevocably changed that caused this weird shit? You know what I mean?
Maybe it scrambled our reasoning skills. Like maybe there are some effects like mentally for us, like that put us on a totally different trajectory than it would have.
Yeah, that is what I'm getting at is like, how was time changed? Like, how has the timeline changed? It doesn't seem like anything's happened that would change the timeline.
Well, and maybe different opportunities presented themselves in this new timeline that would not have presented themselves in the old one, regardless of like.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So like
chaos is running amok.
Or like, did we sort of like merge? Kind of like that whole the Bernstein Bears thing.
Oh yeah.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Man, okay, I'm always on track. All right, go.
All right,
this is so good.
With that said, let me read you some more in Nick's argument. And so this is a pretty long thread. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I don't want to steal Nick's thunder. Like go to his Twitter to read the rest of it. But anyway, he continues. There's the old cliche argument that nothing has felt right since 2012. I agree with this. Maybe it has something to do with growing up and getting older, but ever since then, it seems like the world descends more and more into chaos each day. Time even feels faster. There's some sort of calamity happening almost daily. Excuse me.
True.
Mass shootings only stay in the headlines for like 12 hours now. Did we all die and go to hell? I don't really believe that, but some people do. Maybe we're in a similar situation to the characters in The Good Place. Like I've said before, I think we live in a series of simulations. Perhaps the universe was destroyed by CERN and our collective consciousness was moved into a parallel universe next door. It would be almost identical. In fact, there are people out there who are reporting small differences in this reality and the one they remember before 2012. This is a phenomenon often referred to as the Mandela Effect. And the first example he shows us is the Berenstain versus the Berenstein Bears. So the argument is before 2012, it was one, and then after we hopped universes, it became the other. Some people remember Febreze, spelled with two E's, rather than Febreze, spelled with one E. Some people remember Skechers instead of Skechers. So the first one is Sketch versus Skech. There's a
Which
T.
is it?
Apparently it's the latter, the no T.
Really? I thought it did have a T.
Yep. See?
Right. Looney Tunes, Toons, instead of Looney Tunes, Tunes.
Nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh. JC Pitt.
No.
Yeah.
JC Penney, Penny, instead of JC Penney, Penney. The list goes on. If these don't look or feel right to you, you're not alone. So of course, so we're going into the Mandela Effect, which easily could be an episode unto itself. But he goes on to say the name comes from Nelson Mandela, who many people believe to have died in prison in the 80s. However, to many people's surprise, his funeral was national news in 2013, and he had lived a long and happy life.
Yeah, he got out of prison. He became the president of
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Nick's argument is that our Mandela effects, as I just demonstrated, are evidence of we're not misremembering. We're remembering our original universe from pre-2012.
Yeah.
And these are the changes that most people haven't noticed since 2012, since the world ended.
It's kind of like, here's another one. How did it go? Do you remember in I Love Lucy? Like, Lucy, you've got some explaining to do.
Yeah.
Never happened.
No, I totally remember you got some splaining to do. I totally 100% remember that.
Sally Fields in the Academy Award. You love me. You really, really love me. She never said that. She didn't say it like that.
Yes, and the Ed McMahon, they said that he never went to the doors and like dropped off the big giant checks.
Yeah,
I was like, no, I remember commercials with him. No.
There's a peanut butter too. Jiffy, like Jiffy peanut butter. Or is it something?
Yeah.
Where it's like we all remember this peanut butter, but it didn't exist.
I remember Jiffy.
I think.
Oh, it's Jif.
Maybe it's Jif. Hold on. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, no, I always thought it was Jiffy too. I think it's like Jif or something.
The one he cites that I think is the creepiest. Excuse me. The one he cites that I think is the creepiest. And it's kind of hard to describe here just as audio only because you really need to see pictures. But talks about the Statue of Liberty. And again, this gets weird. So he says
it's Jif, but do you remember
Jif?
Jiffy peanut butter?
Yeah.
There is
no,
it's
but
only
I don't
just
trust
ever
my
been
memory
Jif
on that one.
It's only ever been Jif. There is no Jiffy. There is Jiffy corn muffin mix, but there's no Jiffy peanut butter.
That could be where I got that then.
Yeah. So
I'm telling you though, the Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
The Ed McMahon thing is real. Like that happened. I remember commercials with that dude dropping checks off at front door.
Well, it's like so many people remember was it Shazam starring Sinbad?
Yes, the
but
wizard.
It was Kazam starring
Shaq.
Shaq, thank you.
I don't remember any of those.
But people have gone so far as to like they remember, not only do they remember Shazam starring Sinbad, they remember the yellow cover, the VHS, the outfit he was wearing, like down to details and colors and stuff, like how he was standing, versus Shaquille O'Neal's character.
Did you know he actually created a fake trailer to that movie?
Yeah. Yes.
It was amazing.
Okay, so what about the Statue of Liberty?
Yes. So this is reading more from Nick's argument here, and then I'll stop blatantly plagiarizing him after this. So he says Mandela effects get much creepier though. Some people remember the Statue of Liberty being in a totally different location. That location being Ellis Island. It's actually on Liberty Island.
Oh yeah.
So this is where I wish we could do visuals, because he shows a painting. So he says, here's a painting clearly depicting the statue at Ellis Island with no other islands nearby. So, and it is as he describes. Was the artist just not paying attention? Did he like it better this way? I really don't think so. Now, if that's not strange enough, go onto Google Maps. And he has this picture of this too. Go into Google Maps Street View. There's a few specific areas of Liberty Island where the Statue of Liberty is just gone. So the screenshots he's showing is it's the base that Liberty stands on, but there's no Liberty. The statue's not there. So
what?
residue from the previous timeline. It is a weird looking
Maybe
picture.
It was Ghostbusters 2 when the
right.
got up and
Yeah.
walked through the city.
And then and I'll stop there because he goes into the account that uploaded the pictures, and that's a whole different rabbit hole. Again, if we ever do a show on Mandela Effects, that's when we want to go into that.
Definitely should. But
there's also stuff about he was talking about, actually there's one other detail I wanted to highlight. Where was it? Apparently, this is quoting Nick again, apparently right before the United States entry into World War I, the Germans committed the first act of terrorism on U.S. soil. It was considered one of the largest artificial non-nuclear explosions to have ever occurred. I'm wondering why I didn't hear about this in school. And he's showing the Jersey Journal, and the headline is Big Munitions Explosion at Black Tom, 50 believed dead, 21 hurt in City Hospital, damage $75,000. So anyways, he goes on, this explosion is the reason the Statue of Liberty's torch is closed to the public. It's been closed for over 100 years. There's only one problem, though. People remember going there. Then there's pictures I found taken from the torch, but just look at the user's profile pictures. So he's starting to go into when he's talking about the profile picture, like profile picture looks like somebody very old-timey. So he's starting to branch into another theory about, like, do we have some time travelers among us in addition to the world having ended in 2012?
This is freaking me out.
I will tell you right now, I could go online right now and show you some YouTube videos in the last decade where people got to go up inside the Statue of Liberty. Like, it's actually a very steep step up when you go up. Now, I'm not saying they were able to go out like onto the torch, but you can it's very rare. Like, you have, like, they only do it so often.
So since this necessitates visual aid, I think since we will soon have a website up and running, we could show some of this stuff and do a deeper dive into it.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm sorry, I didn't know that Germany attacked us on American soil.
I have never heard of this.
No, I've never heard of this either.
You're a historian.
No.
Have you heard of this?
No, I've never heard of this.
Are we sure
ever.
He didn't make this up?
Look, he said it on the internet. Therefore,
I found it on Twitter.
I found it on Twitter.
It sounds smart, okay? Okay, so let's talk about some things that intersect with Nick's claims here. So first is just a quick shout out to the Mayan calendar, because of course that's where all of this began, which was that on December 12th, 2021 was the end of date of their 5,126 year-long cycle in their Mesoamerican long count calendar.
You mean 2012?
Yes, that's what I meant. 2012.
Okay.
Else we're gonna have a re-end of the world here in a few days. So talk about CERN a little bit, since that's, his claim is that CERN is at the heart of all of this. So 2012 was indeed the year when scientists at the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, discovered the Higgs boson particle. This is also known as the quote-unquote God particle. So the discovery of this in 2012 was a huge deal as far as science goes, because it was believed to be scientific proof that an invisible energy field called the Higgs field exists and provides other particles such as protons, neutrons, and electrons that make up the physical matter we can see and touch. It's basically showing there's an energy field involved in all of this. So Stephen Hawking had once upon a time warned that discovering this particle could result in oopsie daisy, the universe undergoing in his words, a catastrophic vacuum decay. So here's a quote from Hawking. The Higgs potential has the worrisome feature that it might become metastable at energies above 100 BN giga electron volts. This could mean that the universe could undergo catastrophic vacuum decay with a bubble of the true vacuum expanding at the speed of light. This could happen any time and we wouldn't see it coming.
I don't know what any of that means, but
I know, like, I'm trying to understand. Cannot compute.
I heard bubble.
Well, yeah, but as long as we don't understand what it means, we can extrapolate what it means all the easier.
We can just make up whatever we want.
We don't know what the hell they're talking about, so we can just bullshit all the way through.
So by vacuum, vacuums suck, black holes suck. He needs a black hole. So a black hole happened, and we wouldn't see it coming. So we didn't see it coming. So the world ended, and here we are. Science.
Oh, okay, sweet.
So I wanted to point out, though, is that, hey, does anybody remember 2008? Because that's when the Large Hadron Collider was supposed to end everything.
I mean, I remember 2008 because that was
about that thing.
That was the year that Obama got elected president, and
well, it was also
and my niece was born, and yeah, I remember a lot of 2008, but I do remember that.
It was like, how many times are we going to keep freaking out over the next collider being opened? So 2008 was going to be the end of the world when the Large Hadron Collider opened a black hole that would suck us in through it. It didn't happen. But then CERN opening theirs in 2012, that one's going to end the world. So I guess we just keep doing it till we get it right.
Wow.
Just keep getting sucked into black holes.
Yes. At first you don't succeed, try again.
So while we're talking about CERN, Nick claimed that there was a viral thread on 4chan, where a very reliable source of
I'm about to say, that sounds reliable.
Where someone who was one of the 23 CERN scientists responsible for creating the phenomenon, so one of said scientists was posting on 4chan claiming that Earth's population had indeed moved to a simulated world after the planet was destroyed.
When you say simulated, you mean like it's like the Matrix, or does it mean like a similar world? Like it's
I don't know. Earth. That was another crap. That's another episode, right? Because we all live in a simulation is that's a topic unto itself. We get into Elon Musk talking crazy.
Well, and people report glitches in the Matrix where they'll live the entire lives and then glitch and then be back.
There's a Reddit dedicated to that is fascinating.
Like they'll live their entire lives and suddenly they're 15 again or something?
No. So if you go to, there's a Reddit called The Glitch in the Matrix where people post their real life accounts of weird experiences they have where they feel that they've jumped timelines or various other similar kind of events.
Well, and the one I'm talking about, Chris, was actually a listener story that was posted that aired on And That's Why We Drink podcast. Okay. So a listener wrote in their glitch in the Matrix experience. And it was something like that, where they had lived from teen years into their late 20s and then glitched and went back to their teen years and had to re-meet their wife and do all this stuff over again.
Okay. That's really freaky because I've had a reoccurring daydream for decades. It's a daydream, but it'll pop into my head. And when it does, I just can't stop thinking about it, where I all of a sudden find myself waking up on the couch at my grandparents' house when I was 13. And me remembering everything, and of course seeing my grandfather, who's in my perspective has been dead for 2 decades, and then Gran, who is in my perspective been dead now for 2 years, coming out of the kitchen, and it's trying to explain to them what's happening, but I can't because I'm a 13-year-old child in their eyes. So that's very weird because I've had that reoccurring daydream about what would I do.
That's spooky.
It's how do you explain to somebody, because they'll notice, you're a different person. You're not who you were when you're 13. You don't act like that. You don't talk like that. You don't have any of those interests. Although I probably would go and check out like a lot of my toys that I don't have now. I'd be like, I'm gonna hold on to this. I'm gonna hold on to that. But it's like, how do I look at my grandfather and be like, I know what it's like to be drunk. I know what it's like to make love to a woman. I know paying my taxes, how to drive, smoking a cigar, like. So that was just very weird that you said somebody's actually claimed to have actually experienced that, because I have run that scenario over in my brain so many times. And I'm probably not alone.
I'll try to find the listener's episode that was on. It was really good. I mean, obviously that was just like high level kind of what it was about, but there was like a lot of stuff in it.
So this is one of those CERN scientists who was there, or this is a poster in 4chan claiming to be one of those scientists that was there, saying that, yep, we did an oopsie and everyone's been moved to simulation ever since. So
that's a pretty big oopsie.
Yeah.
Our bad, guys.
Sorry. To expand on, to kind of try to answer your question about what does he mean by simulation, the way he described it was he described reality as being like a set of Russian dolls, where there are worlds nestled within one another. It's or in other words, simulations within simulations. So that sounds like just more questions than satisfying.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, it makes sense, sorry, but that still doesn't answer the question. It's like, it's a simulation within it. Where's what's real? That's what I'm getting at. Like, of course, then somebody be like, well, what is real? What is real? Get all Morpheus. Shit. What is reality? I'd be like,
well, it's sort of like people have successfully built working computer inside Minecraft, right? So I think it's the same kind of principle. You have our real life computer running a simulated world in which another computer is created in that world, and turtles all the way down.
That just makes my head hurt.
So let's bring in one other name here, and again, this is I'm going to touch lightly on it because again, this could easily be another episode to itself, and there's a lot to talk about on it. Nick references briefly this author by the name Preston B. Nichols. Preston B. Nichols wrote 5 books on what's known as the Montauk Project.
I think I've heard of this.
You probably have. He wrote the first of his 5 books in 1992. And the Montauk Project is actually what inspired Stranger Things.
Oh.
Now, where this gets really fun is we're going to find as we start to go down this rabbit hole, there are degrees of separation between our current theory of the world ended in 2012 with the Montauk Project, and then again with the Philadelphia experiment.
Oh shit! Okay.
So our Arthur here was supposedly a whistleblower, and his books are all document time travel experiments that supposedly took place at Montauk Air Force Station in New York.
Ooh.
So Montauk, also known as Montauk Point, New York, or it was also referred to as Camp Hero, kind of on the nose there. It still exists. It has since been abandoned, and the abandoned base can be visited to this day. So we could actually we could do a field trip there.
Are any monsters roaming around?
Not that I know of. Not what I know of, but when I was going down that rabbit hole, I did mention that some people had claimed that it was not accessible now, but they had found evidence that there are tunnels underneath that are no longer accessible, where who knows what's going on. But just pause on your monsters question.
Okay.
So the other thing that Montauk has been known for is, and you can see it pictures if you look it up. I think one of them's still there, the abandoned one, if I recall. I'm not 100% sure, but it had giant radar dishes, and this is in the 40s and 50s when this was kind of newish still. So they had giant radar dishes, and people in the area claimed that since they had put those dishes up, that they had messed with TV reception, and some claimed it was giving them headaches. The base was decommissioned in 1981, and then it was handed over to the New York's Parks and Recreation. So
here you go, Parks and Recreations. You can have like a little slide and swings over there next to the Demogorgon.
Right,
it's the Demogorgon petting zoo.
So yeah, so apparently, according to Mr. Nichols, the author, that excuse me, they were doing time travel experiments. There are claims that there is a network of tunnels and rooms where experiments delved into mind control, psychic espionage, and interdimensional travel.
Okay.
Hundreds of the subjects experimented on at the Montauk Project were basically easily forgotten people, if you will. So young runaways, marginalized people who they could like, swipe off the street and no one would notice. And who could easily be broken into being compliant. Okay. If you will.
Mm-hmm.
So and as crazy as this sounds, just personal side note, remember, MK Ultra actually did happen. Just file that away for reference. Anywho, some of the subjects who went through these experiments they could see through other people's eyes. They could manifest objects from their minds. Just manifest a physical object into reality. Pop, there it is. And some could open portals in space and time.
Oh shit!
In fact, quite a few of them were lost in space and time. And then a lot of the survivors that weren't lost into space or time were subjected to memory manipulation, so they wouldn't remember what happened to them. So, in which case, the author would find some of them and like take them somewhere that would reawaken a memory or something.
Oh, okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So, another Stranger Things on here. The most powerful one of the bunch finally had it, decided things had gone too far, so he conjured a beast to wreak havoc on the labs.
Oh my god.
So one of the people that the author Nichols met was a man by the name of Duncan Cameron, who existed in two different realities. So basically, the way that Nichols would describe it is that Duncan would have band-aids for injuries that he didn't remember because those injuries had occurred in another reality.
He lived a very busy life. He's got to live two lives.
Two realities simultaneously.
Okay.
And basically, this is an example of the repressed memories thing. Nichols him. Let's see. Enter. Yeah, I think Nichols at one point said it was either Duncan or Nichols himself, but basically he entered the other reality while consciously. Yeah, I think this was Duncan. Anyway, he entered the other reality while consciously. How to word this? His consciousness was one place, his body was another.
Oh,
so that's so it could be in two at once.
So does he become like a vegetable while he's in the other reality?
Yeah.
I don't know, but in the other reality, he was assistant project director on the base.
Okay, he's very busy. Okay, he's living two realities, and he's assistant director. Come on.
I'm running this project in a parallel reality. I only have a limited amount of time before I jump back over there, and I've got like lunch at 12 with Abraham Lincoln. Because I'm also a time traveler.
Yeah, it'd be really awkward if you're having your monthly one-on-one with your boss, and then he suddenly like hops realities in the middle of it. Like, we're not done here.
Gotta go.
So we're going to be talking about the data over here in the project here on December the. Oh, he's gone again.
Doug.
Damn it, Doug.
So where I cut myself off on rabbit holing, so this wouldn't be a 6-hour episode. there's actually some overlap with the Philadelphia experiment, which is a topic I want to do another episode on at some point.
Yes.
So there's this guy by the name of Al Bielek, if I'm pronouncing it right, that Nichols talks to. He had been on the USS Eldridge, and he claimed that the Montauk Project opened a wormhole, because remember the Montauk Project is, I forget what it was, but it was shut down in the early 80s. So, the decades leading up to that. So during the Montauk Project, they had opened a wormhole back in time to the Philadelphia experiment in 1943.
Oh my God.
Man.
So anyway, going back to why we can't verify, why we can't go explore those tunnels, under there today, is because apparently after the military cleared the base of monsters, they filled it with cement. So all the tunnels underground have been filled in.
Oh my God. Well, that's a way to keep people out.
Anyway, why are we talking about the Montauk experiment? Because, and this is according to Nick, I don't know. I didn't find any claims from Nichols himself, the author, saying this, but according to Nick, the people who are behind the Montauk experiments, or who are involved in it, they were never able to travel to any point in time past 2012 because they could find no future beyond it.
Oh shit.
Right. So they're doing all this time travel, and they just cap at 2012, and we can't go any further.
There's
now
nothing there to go to.
Yeah. So when I was researching this, and this, mind you, kind of half-assedly at this point, because I couldn't dedicate another 6 hours to this yet. But I found that supposedly Nichols had claimed that they had gone further into the future into 6000 AD at some point, but all they found there was just a statue of a horse. It was post-apocalyptic, and there's just a statue there, nothing else.
Yeah.
Just a big statue of a stallion. I mean, I don't get it. What? That's it. It's just a statue of a horse.
Yeah, so no time travel past 2012.
Well, shit, guys. What y'all doing? Just being dead.
Yeah, so Nick says that Nichols, the author, did an interview in 2014 that I've yet to find, that detailed, in which he went into detail about those experiments. And 2 years after, in 2014, 2 years after 2012, Nichols says that the researchers had supposedly hit a very abrupt wall. They couldn't travel any further into the future.
Because we jumped timelines. We jumped universes.
Yep. So anyway, that's Nick referencing the Montauk experiment as more ammo for his case.
Okay.
I want to go back to what Nick was saying earlier too about time speeding up since 2012. I thought that was curious, because weren't we just talking about that? Because in terms of shadow people, that's called the quickening, if you recall.
Oh yeah.
Which is why we're seeing so many more shadow people.
Oh my God, I just came up with a horrible, horrible thought.
What if the shadow people are the kids lost in time and space?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Get out of my brain, man. No, or the shadow people are the people that were here before we took over. When we when we came in.
Out.
That's why they're in our rooms. Because they're like, who's this dude bumming in my room?
No.
They're so fucking pissed.
No wonder's dread.
So did you ever hear the stories when Hiroshima dropped the bombs?
Yes.
All that was left from some of them was an outline of their shadows. What if that's what the shadow people are?
They're the pre-2012ers.
It's all what's left of the people who were here before we came in, and we vaporized them in a way, and that's all that's left of them, and maybe they're trying to get back.
So Christina, tell Elliot that the next time he sees a shadow person, ask it Berenstein or Berenstein bears. We will get to the bottom of this.
Which one?
Which one is it?
Did Nelson Mandela die in prison, or did he live a long life?
Can we get into the Statue of Liberty's torch?
Lucy, you got some explaining to do.
So Nick also, and I feel this is kind of where it gets a little loosey goosey, but I'm still running with it. Nick references the a popular philosophical idea that we are already at the end of history. So Karl Marx, Frederick Hegel, Francis Fukuyama are examples of philosophers who kind of presented this theory to some extent, one variant or another. But basically the idea is that the events history still happens, history is still unfolding, but mankind has stopped evolving in a socio-cultural sense. So the way I understand that, it kind of makes sense to me, because when was the last time we had a major revolutionary invention like the airplane, electricity, something world changing like that? I'd say like probably, the internet, the digital age. But so since then, like we had the iPhone, but I wouldn't rank that up there with the internet. Like it's slowed down considerably since we hit the.
I would say the that satellite that we just launched, the what's it called? Why have I gone blank? I'm sorry, guys. The satellite that's now being able to reach far into the universe and take all these amazing photographs. I would argue that.
Oh yeah.
Well, it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed the world yet, though. Like it hasn't changed how we all live our lives, whereas all those other discoveries and inventions have. But yeah, so that's kind of what they mean by the end of history. So like history's over. There's no more history happening. We're just kind of coasting from here on out.
The James Webb Space Telescope. That's what it's called.
Oh.
Yeah. So there you go. But yeah, you're right. I think it's changing. I mean, it's changing how we see the universe. But I don't know. It's like, yeah.
Maybe we're socially devolving a little bit, even.
Right.
Like, are we kind of going backward?
Well, I mean, we got the internet now, and it's like, we communicate through the internet, and then with COVID, and now everything's becoming remote. Oh my God, I'm getting depressed now. Okay.
So let me close out with just a couple of. We could have tons of them, but just a couple of counter arguments to this.
Okay.
So first of all, if our planet was sucked into a black hole, we would kind of notice, because one would expect catastrophic earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, because Earth would be experiencing tidal heating as everything was getting stretched and then split into countless atoms. You kind of notice that. Even that notwithstanding, if we had gone through a black hole, the Hawking radiation alone would have killed all of us. And then, as I think most people nowadays know, the Mayan calendar wasn't a doomsday calendar. It had to stop at some point. They couldn't just
they couldn't go forever.
So that just happened to be when it cut off. So they're kind of I see it as, the Mayan calendar was kind of treated as a ye old Y2K.
Yeah.
Well, what if the shift is entirely spiritual, though, and not physical? So like it bumped our spirits out, I guess, into this new...
A soul transfer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of people too. I remember in reading in research, and for one of my future stories in near-death experiences, that a lot of people wouldn't remember the moment they died, or rather when their heart stopped. And in fact, they would lose. Some of them would, in theory, like those key seconds, they couldn't recall. So people who were going along and suddenly had a heart attack, they don't remember having the heart attack. They were just, from their perspective, they were walking along and suddenly it's like they're somewhere else, like they were having these NDEs. And so maybe that it's like we wouldn't remember. It's like that last part's, because if it happens super quick, especially, and if we I don't know, soul transfer, then it would seem seamless.
Or maybe we're that new dimensions or universes, shadow people, and they look like shadow people to us, but we're actually their shadow people. We're the ones that are dead and they're alive.
Or that.
You know what I like to do, because again, like just the Montauk experiment alone and the Philadelphia experiment could both be episodes unto themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But as like if our loving Lord listeners were to chalk up enough money for us at some point, we could afford a field trip to New York. Like we could totally do like a live show from
That'd be
Montauk. That would be
amazing.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
from the base itself, live on location.
Yeah,
that would be so cool
and scary. I will definitely be the one
get
like,
eaten by Demogorgons.
What is that? Is that a Demogorgon? No.
The Demogorgons are encased in concrete. It's fine.
Oh my god.
Yeah. All you have to worry about is children lost in time and space suddenly popping back into existence.
Hey, who are you? What's going on? Oh my gosh. Phil? Yep, he's gone again. Okay, well, I'm deeply disturbed and now going to be questioning everything for a while. Thank you, James, for that lovely episode 10.
So, listeners, if you experience any shadow people, remember Berenstein or Berenstein? We need to know.
Jif or Jiffy peanut butter?
Ellis Island or Liberty Island?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Shazam with Sinbad or Kazam with Shaq?
Yeah.
All right. So you can send all this to us and other personal stories to littlepodcasthorrors@gmail.com. We're also taking donations. So if you feel like supporting us,
send us to New York.
Handy little button. Yeah.
Send us to New York to our doom for our final broadcast.
And what am I missing? Is that it?
And of course, please like and share this podcast around so that way we can eventually just do this full time, because that's the dream.
That is the dream. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, man. To the point where we could be taking field trips all over the place to weird, strange, unsolved mysteries.
Yes.
Hell, Ashtar.
There he goes. There he goes. I was waiting. Good night, everybody. And see you next time.